So in this lesson, we're just going to take this a little bit further and look at how we can use CloudWatch as an administration tool. So not only just for invoking EC2 instances in an auto-scaling group or whatever we're doing, but also to look at how we can use it as one of our key toolbox tools that we can actually monitor and then we can actually use for compliance, that we can use for providing information to management and the like. So we'll go through and look at statistics. We'll go through further into CloudWatch alarms and also look at CloudWatch events. So the way CloudWatch can trigger something to happen. And also we'll look at CloudWatch logs, the way CloudWatch can monitor log information and also act on that log information if required. So CloudWatch metrics are available across a wide range in the majority of AWS resources, but they're not available in all regions on all resources. So you really need to have a look at the full list that's online at the developer guide. Look at the online version because it's going to be updated when those services are more available. For example, that could be billing. So we not only look at it for resources, but we can also look at it for billing. So if our costs are going out of control, then it's a really good thing to be able to be alerted to that. So that's something to definitely consider if you are an administrator and you're responsible for a budget, for example. We can look at DynamoDB, EC2, EBS, Elastic Beanstalk, OpsWorks, Kinesis, Firehose streams, and the like. So a wide range of areas where we can use CloudWatch metrics, not just in EC2. So not only can we look at and monitor raw data, we can actually look at statistics. So if we wanted to look at average and max and min, which is probably what we would mostly look at if we're looking at this for a monitoring purpose as far as getting information and displaying that information, we can also get those statistics through three methods. We can get it through the CLI, the API, or through the console. So through the CLI or the API, through the get metric statistics call, and we can get a maximum number of data points of up to 50,850. The maximum number of data points returned from a single request is 1,440. So you need to be aware of that if you're looking to dump large or looking to collect large amounts of information and bring it in. So you really need to treat this information as what it is. It's a stream of information. So it's not something that you would just come along and just get a great big dump of that. You would normally manage it as a stream or as a regular reading of that data in the short term. So, and again, you can view that with the console, and you can also create dashboards so you can display multiple graphs of alarms and metrics on a dashboard screen. So it's very useful. So you need to really not only understand alarms occur, but the way in which they occur and how they are invoked. So again, we can have billing alarms as well as resource alarms, so be aware of that, and we'll have a look at how we utilize billing alarms in at the end of this lesson. We know that it integrates with SNS and does that quite well. We know that there are three states: OK, alarm, and insufficient data. So we just need to make sure that we fully understand how an alarm is invoked and when it is actually invoked and under what conditions. So I've just got this graph here straight out of the developer guide, and the reason I've done that is because this is a graph that you'll see on your exam, no doubt. So just want to make sure that it looks and feels the way that you're going to be used to in the exam. So looking at this, we've got an alarm that is set up with a threshold set to 3 and an evaluation period is set to 3. So if a metric is above the alarm threshold for the number of time periods defined by the evaluation period, then the alarm is invoked. So looking at our graph here, after time period 1 and 2, we're down at 1. So we're well below our threshold of 3. So that blue line there is our threshold of 3. So when we go to time period 3, we can see that all of a sudden it jumps up to 4. So that's our first point where it has exceeded the threshold, but an alarm has not been evoked because it hasn't done it for the evaluation period of 3. So it hasn't done it 3 consecutive times. So that's the first time. And then we look at time period 4, which it's still above, and time period 5, which is above. So at time period 5, it's occurred after 3 time periods. So our evaluation period of 3. So at time period number 5, our action is invoked. Our alarm will be invoked. So then it drops back down, and basically our service can allow another alarm to occur when it's dropped back down from the alarm threshold. So we've dropped back down, and we've gone down there to time period 8 where we're down to 1 again. And then all of a sudden at 9 it's jumped right up to 5.5, and then dropped back down again. So that's dropped up there for only after 1 time period. So because it hasn't done it for 3 consecutive time periods, so at the end of 3 consecutive time periods it hasn't occurred, that alarm won't be invoked. So you just need to understand how that works, and understand that graph. Also understand that it's not always above a threshold; it could be below a threshold as well. So depending on how that metric is set up. So another thing to consider is CloudWatch logs. So CloudWatch can monitor, store, and access log files from EC2 instances from AWS CloudTrail, which collects logs on our API calls through all of our resources, or it could be from a number of other resources that would generate log files. So that allows us to have real-time monitoring of our log information. So no longer is this log just being created and then stored away somewhere for later view. CloudWatch can monitor that log information as a stream in real time as it's occurring, which is a great thing. So you can really define certain situations where you want to be notified in real time of that, and to take corrective action on whatever you need to do. So those logs will be set up as a log stream, and that will be a sequence of the log events from a particular source, be it an EC2 instance or whatever it is. Now, we can set up our log streams in log groups. So those log groups, there are groups of streams that have the same retention, monitoring, and access control settings. So you would define those retention, monitoring, and access control settings, and then you would have your log streams organized into log groups. So it's one thing to have these streams, have these log groups, and have all this information coming in, but CloudWatch needs to know what to look for. It needs to know what is not normal. And so metric filters, they allow CloudWatch, they give CloudWatch the opportunity to look at that information and to extract what it needs. So it defines how information is extracted from that log stream, and in what situation a data point would be created by CloudWatch. And then we have our retention settings, and so they're just how long our events are kept in CloudWatch logs. So CloudWatch logs and combined again in the next slide we'll see CloudWatch events. They're two very, very good services that you can use outside of just the usual alarm situations from an EC2 instance or whatever, that you can use for, in particular, for compliance and security issues, and also for troubleshooting issues. If you've got problems, and then you can clearly define what you're looking, so you can really sort out the bugs in your infrastructure. Next, we have CloudWatch events. So they occur when a resource changes states. For example, it could be an EC2 changes from being running to terminated. It could be when an auto-scaling group launches a new instance. So that's an event that occurs when a resource has changed. We can also look at integrating this with CloudTrail. So CloudTrail, as we know, it logs our API calls. So it's a very good security, compliance, and troubleshooting tool that can help us greatly, and when combined with CloudWatch events, can alert us to problems very quickly. So for an example, we might want to look at situations when someone logs into the console as a root user. And so that's something that we don't want to happen and shouldn't be happening. So we could actually have CloudTrail set up with a CloudWatch event attached to that CloudTrail log stream. And it could send off, for example, an SNS message, or something could happen when that situation occurs. So again, CloudWatch needs to know an event that it needs to be alerted to and how to route those to the appropriate target for processing. So that's where rules come along, where we define the rules for CloudWatch to generate an event when that situation occurs. And so that will route them to one or more targets. Now, a target can be a Lambda function. It can be an SNS topic. It could be an SQS queue. It could be a Kinesis stream, or it could be built-in targets. And an example of a built-in target would be to terminate an instance. So, when someone logs in as root, and when we might have an instance there and we want to terminate the instance or whatever we do. So that's an example of a built-in target that we can use. So now we'll just move on to some hands-on stuff, and we've got the theory out of the way for now, so let's move on.